Some like it hot, but we like it raw. Get ready for Raw Nirvana. Greetings. We have here with us today Bruce Horowitz, aka Chef Sprout, and the executive chef of the Raw Spirit Festival. And today we're just going to talk about raw foods in general, where it's going in the future, and what experiences Bruce has had with it. So, how did you first get into raw foods?
Well, actually, I was living in Spain, and I started getting into wild foods. I discovered all these fig and almond trees, apricot trees, and of course they were incredibly delicious, and I was instinctively drawn to eat natural, whole, juicy wild foods. Then I moved back to the United States, and this is about 10 years ago. I was living in San Francisco, and I kept hearing about a restaurant that was simply called Raw. And it sort of trickled into my consciousness, and for some reason I was drawn to it without really having heard anything about raw foods. I was drawn to this restaurant that was called Raw. The day I walked in there, my body knew on a cellular level that this is what I had been looking for without knowing it. So I volunteered every day for a month just to be around that food and to eat it, and I started to understand the concept intellectually and on a even deeper body level, and it's looking back since then.
Cool. So was that your first experience in a restaurant and handling food, or did you
Well,
have
eaten
previous?
in restaurants.
Yeah, but as far as working in one or being a chef?
I'd worked in restaurants in all kinds of different positions since I was 15. You know, scooping ice cream at Baskin-Robbins, working as a bartender, as a caterer, working in macrobiotic foods. So I had a lot of eclectic restaurant experience, but I'd never per se really aspired to be like a gourmet food chef.
Yeah.
But raw foods is, in itself, the ingredients are really inspiring. You've got this incredibly vibrant produce that's just, I'm really inspired just by the raw ingredients, by what Mother Nature provides. And of course, this was in California and San Francisco, and everything in the restaurant was organic. And Giuliano had an incredible flair for using fresh flowers and herbs and the most amazing ingredients. So I got very inspired, and as well, I started to really feel the effects in my body, as well as the creativity of playing with raw foods. And you'll see in a minute what we just whipped up there in about 5 minutes, how simple and beautiful it is to prepare raw foods.
Yeah. So what do you do now? Do you own a restaurant, or are you a chef at a restaurant?
I get around.
Yeah.
I have a business called The Sun Kitchen. I teach classes, I cater, I do a booth at festivals on the West Coast, and I also do food at retreats for Nature's First Law. I'll be the executive chef of the Raw Spirit Festival.
Awesome.
I'll be at retreats in Canada and Oregon and California. So I'm moving around, focalizing kitchens and working with other chefs to provide the most amazing sustenance on the planet.
Awesome. Where can people find the schedule as to what you're doing?
I have two websites actually. I have www.thesunkitchen.com. Then I have another website called rawpermaculture.org, and that's actually focused on the ecological aspects of raw foods.
Would you like to speak more about that?
Well, as I started to get into feeling the personal effects and feeling the effects of raw foods on an individual level, I also started to notice how it affected my impact on the world. As I mentioned before, I worked in a lot of different capacities in restaurants, and working in mainstream food service, you create a lot of trash, just a lot of cups, napkins, forks, plastic,
Yeah.
boxes. And preparing raw foods, you're really producing compost.
Right.
And so I just immediately noticed that, and that really perked my curiosity about the ecological effects of eating raw foods.
So have you done studies on it, or is that part of the book that you're writing, or?
Actually, it is, and there was a progression that went along with my chef career. Is once I started connecting with the compost, I enrolled in an organic gardener and composter educator program in San Francisco through SLUG, the San Francisco League of Urban Gardeners. And that was very rewarding to really learn about the connection between food and growing food and composting and the full food cycle, and the direct connection to that through eating raw food and preparing raw food, being a part of that circle of life. And after that, I enrolled in a master's degree program in ecology at an alternative school, New College of California, where they encouraged me to create my own major, and so I did a master's degree program and wrote a master's degree thesis on raw foodism and ecology.
Wow.
And that has led to an interest in permaculture, which is a sustainable living design system. And simultaneously, I'm working on taking my master's degree thesis and turning that into a book.
Great.
And that book is called The Raw Revolution, Saving the Planet One Bite at a Time.
Nice. And when can we expect that to be out?
I'm hoping to have it out, well, as soon as possible. I'm pretty busy running around making raw foods, but when I'm at home, I'm working on that, and I'd like to see it out sometime in 2007 or 2008.
Cool. Look forward to that. Would you like to show us what you made today here on set?
It would be my pleasure.
Awesome. So I saw Bruce make this beautiful mandala plate of raw food in a matter of minutes, and I'm going to hand it over to him, and he's going to tell us ingredients in it.
Okay. Well, these are some lettuce wraps, and what I did was I looked in my box of food and said, what do I have? How can I combine these in a really beautiful and delicious and also kind of alternative way of combining flavors and textures and colors to make something beautiful that's also going to taste amazing. So I laid out my lettuce leaves, then I put a dollop of tahini. In fact, we have, there's some friends of ours who have a company and they make an amazing tahini, Artisana. So we used a dollop of their tahini. And then I cut some different shapes of fruits and vegetables. So I cut some kiwi rounds, some tomato wedges, some mango spears, some cacao beans, and I put some sun-dried olives. And what else is on here? I sprinkled some cacao nibs, which are broken up cacao beans, and goji berries. And what else is on here? And then I stuck a little chili pepper in the middle of a lemon, which is holding the space as the centerpiece. Looks pretty good, huh?
It's awesome. I would have never have thought to put all of those things on one plate. It's really cool.
And so this, to me, this is the essence of why raw foods is inherently gourmet, because the ingredients are so amazing and they're so beautiful and they're so vibrant. And if you just let yourself be creative with it and just, you know, kind of play around and do what you can. And the wonderful thing about this kind of art is that it's edible.
Yes.
You get to eat it afterwards.
Thank you for sharing.
My pleasure.
Okay, so this plate of beautiful food looks very irresistible and inviting. Anybody would love to eat a piece of this.
Well, actually, that's been what I've experienced, is that the more people get exposed to just fabulous raw food, how it looks, how it tastes, and most importantly, how it feels and the impact on their lives, the more popular it's becoming.
Right. It's growing in popularity. Do you think it'll ever make its way into mainstream where a lot of people are attracted to this movement and positively affected by it?
You know, I think it's going to have to, and I think it already is, and I know there are a lot of people dedicated to making that happen, like Happy Oasis, who's putting on the Raw Spirit Festival.
Yes.
I know that, which is going to be the biggest raw food gathering ever,
Yeah.
that's really the underlying goal of that, is to expose as many people to this, because everyone who feels this and experiences it in their life, then they tell some people, and then and also the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. When you eat this food and you experience it and you taste it, you know, you're immediately transformed, number one, on a cellular level by the food itself.
Right.
Number two, by just how good it can taste. Number three, by the incredible health effects that you can experience really fast. For example, there's a movie, I believe it's called Raw for 30 Days. Or,
Yes.
And just like the movie Super Size Me, you know, so movies, festivals, more and more raw food restaurants, more and more health food stores making raw foods. It is really growing, and in fact, it's what we need so badly. It's the antidote to so many of our problems in our culture.
What about weight loss? I know a lot of people, you know, they've tried all of these different diets and they work for a little while and then, you know.
Well, I mean, I think that definitely there are, you know, I've met people, for example, I had a student who I trained her as a chef, and she started playing around in her kitchen. She lost 90 pounds in 6 months or something ridiculous like that. Of course, because this food detoxifies your body. It breaks you from your mainstream food addictions, and it nourishes you in a way that you know, McDonald's doesn't. And so I think it's an incredibly important tool for weight loss and, you know, for a myriad of other health challenges.
Yeah.
It's really transformative for people's individual health, and what I discovered through my studies in ecology and what I've learned is that it's really an important part of planetary transformation. So personal, planetary transformation, and of course, it's all connected. So raw foods is this incredible tool that is basically going to help us save ourselves, save the planet, and in the meantime, guess what? It tastes great. And it's the best thing you could do for yourself. It's the best thing you do for your kids, for Mama Earth, for your taste buds. There are a million reasons why you should go raw, and the only reason why you shouldn't go raw is if you want to be unhealthy and be part of the problem.
Amen.